Giro in Colorado wants to talk about the existence of God is real but not physical. So what do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you hear me good?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I was thinking of well, I've actually been living this way my whole life, but a set of laws. I also grew up on the guys' show, by the way.
Oh, good.
It's a set of laws. So entropy pretty much, and tell me when I make the fallacy here, entropy pretty much is like the way of the universe, right? Don't you have to like eat, you have to destroy something in order to live. Are you following me so far?
No, because what was destroyed when the Big Bang happened?
Well, I don't think that the Big Bang was the first, it was the start of the universe. So, but
well, that's counter to everything in science. But that doesn't really answer the question. What was destroyed when that was created? Or let me go to another one. If I nail together two things that have ever been nailed together before, how is that destroying either one of them?
Did you just say you have to nail something?
I said, what if I take two things that have never been nailed together before and nail them together? What was destroyed in that process?
Well, you're using energy to do that, and you're also putting things together that's never been together before. So you're destroying one and one to make, or you're destroying two to make one.
No, they still exist. They're not destroyed. They have not stopped being whatever it was they were. They're just now nailed together. Nothing was destroyed. But they're not destroyed.
In their own form, yeah, I get what you're saying. So I guess you would get me there. What I'm trying to say is that we have to eat in order to survive. We have to devour something in order to live. That's how digestive tracts work. That's how. I mean.
Yeah, and that's more indicative of a God not existing than a God existing. Yeah, but see, that fact is more evidence of that's evident, not evidence for a God. That's evidence against a omnibenevolent, omnipotent God, right? That we have to eat other things and make other things to suffer.
Right. I don't believe in omnibenevolent God. I don't think omnibenevolence is a thing. I don't think that exists.
Okay, so how does your God? So let's go back to your original of. So we agree that things don't have to be destroyed in order to create something, right?
Yeah. I guess you would have me there.
Yeah. So what's the rest of your point? How do you know that the existence of God is real? What's your evidence for that?
Okay. Well, it's just a basic observation. I look at the world around me and I say, well, damn, we have to. Well, it doesn't. I don't think we have to, but history has taught me that we kill each other, we slaughter animals, we, I don't know.
How's any of that evidence? You're just describing things that happen. How is that evidence of God?
Maybe that's the way of our universe is what I'm saying. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe you have to destroy stuff and devour things in order to keep going.
Fine. I'm granting you all that. I'm granting those are your toys. You get to play with them. Granting you all that. How's that evidence of a God?
Maybe that's the laws of the universe in which that's what I call God.
So your God is the God of Spinoza, right? Would that be fair?
The God of Spinoza. No, I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't say it's just the universe or something like that. I would say that intentionally these are the laws that we live by because that's how it's supposed to be. If you would think anything else, it could be any other way, right?
Yeah, it could be. It could be, but you haven't distinguished. Because that's the way it is. It's not evidence of a God. You're simply describing what is, right? You're not describing how a God. One, why would a God want to do that? You already established he's not omnibenevolent. So why would a God build this universe, right? And then how did he do it? Either one of those questions would be good, but first you got to prove he exists. So you can't take something and automatically assume that a God exists. You just can't do it.
So you said he, and I never once said anything about a he. And then you said, why would it do it? This is a byproduct, in my opinion, this is a byproduct of what is naturally occurring, right? So
Yes.
let's say...
May I jump
I
in?
want to create... Go ahead. What's up?
Okay. Giro, what do you mean by God?
Okay. It's a set of laws to me, a set of rules, basically.
Okay. Do any
So your
set
God
of
is the
rules
God of
make a God?
Spinoza.
So Giro,
you
do
guys are
any
talking-
set of rules be? Giro, listen to this question. What set of laws would you call any set of laws God, or like what laws are you specifically talking about? Does it have to be a specific set of laws?
The laws that we live by, so like physics, entropy, thermodynamics.
Okay. Laws of nature. You call it God,
Pretty
right?
much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Your laws, so your God does exist. I agree with you. I just don't know why you call it God, all right? Because we have a name for what you're referring to, okay? We call the things that you're referring to, we call them the laws of nature, right? That's the name that we have for them. If you want to call, so I agree. I think me and Jim agree with you that the thing that you're telling us that you call God, you say it exists, and I think me and Jim agree with you that they do exist. Okay, so the only disagreement that we have here is whether we should call it God or not. And if you want to call it God, go ahead and call it God, and your God does exist. But here's the thing: if I call my cat, if I name my cat God, and then I could also say God exists because I just named my cat God, and now God does exist because my cat is real, right?
Right.
So the question is like, is the word God the best? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, and not to cut you off, but I do understand the punchline is quite funny. Like I said, I watched you guys for about 20 years now. What I was going to say is it's because we are forced to live by these laws. It's not that we have a choice. You can't get up and say gravity doesn't exist. Right.
Right. But that doesn't indicate a God. That we agree with that. The problem is we don't see how you get to a God from there, right? Describing the things that exist doesn't get you to a God.
Right, because it supersedes what you want to happen. It doesn't matter what you want to happen. It supersedes that. So
Giro, here's the thing. We are, me, you, and Jim are on the same page when it comes to the things that exist. Okay. We don't disagree on that. The disagreement is with the use of words. What is the best utility for the definition for the word of God? Like what would be a definition that would give us the highest amount of utility for the usage of the word God, right? So right now in the world that's
what you just said.
Yeah. So we could call it whatever. We could call it God. We could call it X. We could call it, I don't know, Armin, if you wanted to, right? And then it doesn't, that. Whatever. You could call it. But again, I don't recommend calling it whatever because words are supposed to help us with communication, right? And if you use words in a way that most people don't use them, that will make communication very difficult because right now, in the world that we live today, when people use the word God, what they're referring to most of the time is a conscious, self-aware, the creator and moderator of the universe, right? And that's what most people mean. That's what most people, when they say God, that's what they're talking about. So if you now use the word God in a different way, that's just going to cause a lot of confusion. We want to submit to the most used definition so that we could communicate more effectively with each other. Especially, go on.
Yeah, maybe to the uninitiated, it would mean like some conscious guy sitting somewhere or something like that. No offense to
that's
them, but that's
do you believe your God has free will? Does your God making choices?
Or does nature make any choices?
It's not an answer to my question.
Okay.
That's not an answer to my question. Does your God have free will?
Okay,
Does he make choices?
if nature does, then yes.
Yeah, it's not really answering the question either, but I take your meaning that no, God does not have free will. God doesn't have a choice. Does your God care about being worshipped?
Absolutely not.
Does your God care about people sacrificing things to it?
No.
Does your God have a preferred people?
No.
Your God is the God of Spinoza, and it's useless. So what? Why do I care that you think God is the universe?
It's not the God of Spinoza because it's a set of rules that you're forced to be. You're forced to use.
Yeah, that is the God of Spinoza. That is the God of Spinoza. You need to go look it up. That is the God of Spinoza.
You know, I studied God Spinoza for a long time here. This is the reason why I'm at now. It's not that I can just call it anything or whatnot. It's a set of physical laws that you're subjected to.
Giro, what's the problem? Giro, what's the problem with just calling them laws of nature? Why do you want to insist? Like what you're saying, what you're referring to is the laws of nature, right? So why not just use that? If you say laws of nature, people will know what you're talking about. Why do you insist on using this other word that people use for something else?
Because you're subjugated to have to use them. It's not a choice.
So what? That doesn't say that's not a reason. That's a fact, but it's not a reason for me to all of a sudden change my language to God, which has a definition that doesn't fit what you're using it for, right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Maybe we got to change our definitions then. I mean, it happens before, right?
Why?
Because that definition is insufficient.
The definition of the laws of nature or the universe is insufficient. I mean, it works for everybody else, but you're the only person who it doesn't work for. You're the only person who doesn't work for.
Right. The definition of it being a conscious being that is personally in your life and all this other stuff. It personally, it like grants you favors and things of that nature.
Yes, that's what most people mean by God. You're the only person who thinks we need to expand the definition of God to be synonymous with the universe or the laws of nature. You're the only person who wants to do that. The rest of us are like, we don't need to because we want to keep the distinction so that we know what we're talking about, right?
Because that definition is insufficient to reality. So there's cohesion.
The laws of nature. So hold on. The laws of nature are insufficient. The laws of nature are insufficient to deal with reality.
No, God. He's saying
no.
God. He's saying the word.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, the personal God thing is insufficient.
So
yeah,
what?
but so Giro, we have words for also things. Giro, we have words for things that don't exist. For example, the word dragon, okay? The word dragon refers to things that don't exist. You're basically what you're saying is like, okay, dragons are not real. So we should change the definition.
Dragon. Negative.
Oh my God, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think you're just
No, Giro.
Yeah.
Giro, you know what I'm trying to say, and you're just playing games now.
Yeah.
What about the word?
I think we're done.
The word we're done. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're done. Honestly, yeah, you're just playing games with us. Thanks so much for calling. Maybe call back. There we go. Okay.
Can I just add something? Guys, the way that we measure the utility of the definition of words is the number of people who use that definition. Given that words are the utility of words is to communicate, then the number of people who use a certain definition is a measure of the utility of that definition.